Rebecca, and I'm going to be your counselor today. How'd you find the place?
I found it really well, actually. It's very easy to find. It's pretty open. The weather's beautiful, so the drive over was awesome.
That's good. Glad to hear. So before we talk about why you're here, I'm just going to go over the most important part, just the confidentiality form.
Okay.
So basically it states that these counseling services are voluntary, so you can choose to come and you can choose to go as you please. So if you're doing counseling and you decide it's not working for you and it doesn't have as much interest to you, you can discontinue those services by all means. Some people do benefit from counseling, some people don't. So, like I said, with progress and how we go, it's your choice. Everything that we talk about in this room is confidential and stays between you and I. There are a few things that that cause me to break the confidentiality form. So, things such as you being of harm to yourself or to others, and you tell me something that implies either of those. If I'm subpoenaed to court, which means the legal system requires me to provide documentation of my clients and what is said between us. If you report any domestic violence or neglect, physical or sexual abuse to anyone under 16, or sexual abuse to yourself from a medical professional, so another therapist, a doctor, or another counselor you're seeing. So those are just the main ones. And also if you sign a content release form, which allows me to talk about what we discuss to my colleagues and my supervisor, just so they know and can keep track of what's going on. So if you just want to read over this and sign at the bottom.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay. So what brings you in today?
Well, recently I've noticed that I haven't had a lot of motivation towards anything. I still get myself to school. I'm in college at the moment. I also have a 2-year-old daughter, and sometimes when I want to do homework, she is just all up in my stuff, and I just want to get it done. And then by the time she goes to bed, I'm so tired I want to go to bed with her. And I know I have lots of time to do work and stuff at school, which I have gotten. I do use those rooms, but sometimes the motivation isn't there, and I just want to procrastinate, or I look at what I'm supposed to do and I panic so much that I just push it aside. Mm-hmm. I want to sleep all the time. I don't really want to go out anymore. Just being out in public kind of bugs me, and I just don't know why. I don't know why the motivation, because in the summer I had such high motivation. I was always outside, bringing my daughter to the park every single day, and now I just don't do any of that.
So from what I'm hearing, you are currently in college.
Yes.
And you also have a 2-year-old daughter, and you're a student, and your schoolwork and all the projects and assignments you have to do seem to be kind of overwhelming for you.
Very overwhelming.
Causing you to be stressful and very decreased in motivation. So you don't have motivation to do it, mm-hmm. and doesn't get done, and on top of that you're a mother, so I see that you're balancing both of those.
Yes.
Have you had a past of high stress levels when it comes to homework in high school or elementary school?
When I was in elementary school, there used to be this thing that I would get loud and fast. Now I'm assuming that has something to do with panic or anxiety, because it would be exactly how it sounds. Things would just get louder than normal, mm-hmm. and everything would be faster than normal. So, a mellow set of footsteps, they would be really, instead of just pitter patter, it's pitter patter, pitter patter. It was just, and it was all in my head. Mm-hmm. And my mom and I, we had no idea what was causing them, because they would just come and go. It would come and go so quickly, we just didn't know what was happening. But now, after thinking about it, of course, I'm assuming it has to do with something with stress or panic. Mm-hmm. In high school, I suffered with body image and little things like that. So there was always anxiety towards eating and stuff like that, but mm-hmm. it was never I kind of gave up on school. So I think I lifted that stress and pushed it away and stressed on something else. Mm-hmm. I was just trying to avoid one stress with another stress, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I see. You also said that going out in public, you don't like to go out and do stuff like that. Do you often go out and do things with your friends?
I used to love going out and when I was younger, partying with my friends, or even now that I have a daughter, if I have like a weekend off, I would like to get together with my friends, but now it just seems like I don't even care. Like I just don't want to do anything. And then I sit there in my apartment all by myself thinking, wow, this is the time that you should be getting your homework done. Mm-hmm. And then I feel guilty that I'm not doing it because there's no motivation. And then I feel even more guilty because I have a daughter and I want to thrive for her. I want to be able to give her whatever. I don't want her to be a brat, but I mean, like, I want to be able to give whatever I want to her. Like, I want to be able to go to Wonderland or the movies one day or to Disneyland and just be able to do those things for her, you know? I think she deserves it. So I feel guilty with if, like, when I start slacking or if my grades start to become a little low, which they have because of my motivation, it makes me feel even more guilty knowing that, like, if I were to fail, I failed Emma too, not just me. Mm-hmm. So
it brings like a guilt onto you.
Yes, it's the whole shebang.
So do you have like any close friends who you still keep in contact with and do stuff?
I do have one close friend. Her name is Liz, and she also has a daughter. We met through hockey in elementary school. We did not go to the same school. Mm-hmm. And she can relate, and she does really help me when I come to her when I'm stressed out, and she'll sit there and talk with me and be like, listen, like I've been through the same stuff. And I'm like, okay. So she understands it, so I don't feel so alone. Mm-hmm. I also think that she said it's normal to go through phases like the phase I'm going in now. I'm just hoping that it is a phase and it's not like a long-term thing, because usually I'm a social butterfly. I'm like outgoing and I'm easygoing and just so happy. But when when I get anxiety attacks, I'm irritable and I'm like, nobody wants to be around me. So that's why I would rather stay in my apartment, because I don't want people to be like, what's wrong with you? And then I always feel guilty with how I'm acting, even though I know I'm allowed to act a certain way. I just don't feel like I am.
How are you with your parents? You close with your mom and dad?
I'm close with both my mom and dad. Like, we obviously each have different relationships. My mom, like, if I were to come to her with anxiety, sometimes she doesn't really know what to do with it. And then she does get a little bit angry, but then sometimes she handles it really well, and she does help me. And then with my dad, he is just a very, very easygoing, laid-back person that he doesn't understand anxiety at all, because he has never dealt with it, right? He's just like, yeah, let's go with the flow kind of thing. And so when I come to him and I'm all like pacing and frantic, he's just like, I don't know what to do with you, but I love you, sweetie. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that's what I say. That's all I need is, like, I love you.
Yeah.
We always, like, will watch the hockey games together, my dad and I, and, like, my mom and I will go to church together. So we have a great relationship. I don't love either one more.
That's good. Do you have any siblings?
I have an older sister. She is 3 years older than me. She does not live with me anymore. She got married 2 years ago, to her husband. And we were never very close, which I kind of regret that. I wish we were really close. Like, she wouldn't just call me up and be like, hey, how are you doing? Mm-hmm. Which I wish she would, and I wish I would too, because she's my sister. Like, I love her. And I think we were very different throughout high school, that, like, I was a punk and she was a prep, and, you know, nobody wants to be seen with a punk. Mm-hmm. But she still loved me, and she still stood up for me sometimes, so I will always appreciate that. We're just not as close as I would like to be. Mm-hmm.
In regards to being stressed about school and your workload and that causing you to have a decrease in motivation, have you told your parents or your sister about it, or does anyone in your family notice or see that?
I haven't talked to anyone about it, but my mom has noticed, because since, like, in the summer I was, like, out running every single day with my daughter and doing so much stuff, and now I'm just like, blah. I don't really care. It's like I don't care personality, and she definitely can see it, but she hasn't really mentioned anything to me yet. I will talk to them about it if it gets really bad.
So in regards to the stress and the school overload and homework, do you spend some of your spare time, you know, working on homework? You said you have breaks in class sometimes. Do you ever do any of your homework then? Maybe help limit the workload for when you get home?
I have. I've definitely used the resources at school a lot. They're awesome. But then when I have my like that motivation thing, I won't go into those rooms. I'll like go get something to eat at school or just walk around, maybe even go home for like a half an hour and then come back. But what the thing is that bugs me about myself is that I know how good I feel once I leave that room with a finished assignment or a finished project. There's a huge weight that's lifted off my shoulders. So it's like I'm always fighting with my brain, like the one that has no motivation. It's like, you just go home and you can go sit down and do whatever you want. And then there's this part of the brain that's like, Becky, you're going to feel so much better when you have this done. And then there's the middle guy who's like, because it is like the angel and the devil. One of them, the devil's saying, like, you don't understand it. That's why you're not going to do it. And that's part of the motivation, too, because I feel like I don't understand things. Mm-hmm. And once I feel like I don't understand them, I'm done, though. Like, I don't want to do it because I'm like, I don't get it. I can't even think of a proper sentence to write. And that just bothers me because I know I can write really well. But when I can't, I feel like, what's going on? Yeah, I feel like, well, maybe I don't write well. Maybe it was stupid or maybe it didn't sound right, and then I get afraid of handing it in or seeing other people. Like, I don't want other people to see it because I don't want them to judge me.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever tried asking your teachers for help when you don't understand something or you come across a project and, like you say, you look at it, you don't understand it, and then that just automatically makes you not want to do it?
I have never tried to ask the teacher yet because I've gone up and tried, but then I turned right back around and left because I got so nervous and so scared. Like, I don't know why I'm scared to ask teachers questions, but I just am. I'm terrified. Mm-hmm. I know I shouldn't, though.
Have you ever had any times where you were successful in asking a teacher and they gave you, good feedback that helped you have motivation to go ahead and say, I can do it and try and work on a project?
In past experiences, no. Like, I remember I'm assuming the reason why I do have, like, a fear of asking teachers questions or anyone for help is when I was in my grade 9 math class, I had a teacher and he would put it, like, an equation on the board. And that's all he would do. And then he would tell us to solve it. But this was an equation that he didn't teach us anything about yet. Mm-hmm. Like, not even how to do any of it. So then I remember everyone in the class, they were like, oh my God, like, why is he doing this to us? Mm-hmm. And so I was like, I'll go ask. I was confident, I was cool back then. I'm going to go and ask him. And all he said is, you should figure it out yourself. And I was like, but I can't though. That's the thing. That's why I'm asking you. Mm-hmm. And so that always, ever since then on, I just would never ask teachers for help because it was a letdown.
Mm-hmm. You needed that, little bit of assistance in the beginning, and he just didn't give it to you.
And it took a while to get that courage to go up and ask him. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go do this. I go do it, thinking like, I'm making a good stand, like I'm going to be, all my classmates are finally going to get the answer too, or like at least some help, and he tells me to just figure it out for myself. That just shut it right down. Mm-hmm. And it was math too. Math is very important. Like, you need to be showed like step by step with it. Mm-hmm.
And it's also a subject where it can be very complex and hard sometimes, and you definitely need that assistance. So you need teachers like that who will, give you that lend a hand kind of thing.
Yes.
For your first part. So in regards to the stress part of it, have you ever tried to do anything, maybe activities in the comfort of your own home that have tried to like lower your stress levels? So you say that when you get a heavy workload of homework and you don't understand it, it decreases your motivation, and then you just don't want to do it. That builds stress, and then you think, oh, well, I have this and this and this to do. Have you ever done anything to help with that stress? Maybe something simple would be doing yoga or putting on calming music and just listening and laying down listening to that, or Zen. Some people do that, or meditating. Have you ever tried any of those techniques?
When I've been really stressed, I like to go for a hot bath with bubbles. Bubbles are awesome. Sometimes I know this may sound weird, but my daughter does help me. Like, just if I get really stressed while I'm working on a project or an assignment, I will take a break, and I'll just focus on her and her playing, and even like the sound of her breath or just her voice, and it kind of works both ways. Sometimes I'm like, it makes me feel so much better, but the other times it's like, I need to do good for you. So like, but it's just having her around me and like her hugging me and just being around her because she was once inside my little body that she does soothe me. But I know that like when she's 4, I'm legally supposed to send her to school. I cannot see her. Like I cannot go pick her up. So she can't be my coping strategy, which I don't think it's healthy now anyways. But I do listen to music, and sometimes I game, and sometimes I go for walks and stuff like that. But I don't really like being outside. So like I live in a rural area, so I don't want to be seen. I'll go down that road because nobody sees me. But I just want things to be back to the way they used to be, where I didn't mind if I was seen in public, or I don't know. I feel like my social. I think maybe I might be getting like social anxiety too because I don't like talking to people, and as you can tell, I talk a lot. So, it kind of came out of the blue, and I'm wondering maybe if it's just for right now, and it's a phase because of all the stress that's going on. Once the stress is over, and once like my semester's over, it will go away. I don't know.
Have you ever tried, like, sitting down and doing your homework and whatnot, maybe giving yourself breaks? Have you ever maybe had a test that you had to study for and you spent, I don't know, maybe an hour, 2 hours and were studying and maybe giving yourself breaks? Do you think maybe that's something you could try? Then that way you're still getting your homework done, but you're giving yourself time to process and relax and then kind of work at it?
Breaks are very important. I have not tried that yet, but I'm definitely willing to try that because I'm willing to try anything to make this better.
So, from everything I'm hearing, you are dealing with schoolwork, and that seems to be the main issue, the overload of schoolwork, which is causing you to become stressed out because it can be a lot to deal with at one time. And because of that, you said the main point was that when you don't understand something, you don't have motivation to try and work at it or try and understand and figure it out. So you then become, like careless, I guess you could say, and you don't want to do it, so then things don't get done. But on top of that, you're close with your parents and you have a daughter, and all these factors seem to kind of go hand in hand because I know you said you want the best for your daughter, and for that, you want to get an education, have a good job, have money, be able to take your daughter out and do things, and kind of just they all go hand in hand. So in regards to the stress part of it and the motivation, I know you said that you're willing to try working or studying and taking breaks. Have you ever had a situation where you needed maybe somebody's help in regards to taking care of your daughter and then giving yourself time to work on your homework?
My parents do help out. They helped out. They help out a lot actually. Like if I can't pick Emma up from daycare because I'm in class, they'll go and pick her up. And her father does see her. Like he gets to visit her on Wednesdays and on every other weekend. So those are the days that I like really bust my chops to do my schoolwork.
Help give you time to work.
Yeah, and sometimes also, but it's like laundry and I have to clean the apartment and then I gotta go do this and then I had this to do. But that's when I do my homework, because if I don't, I sit there and I regret it so much that it makes me do my homework, right? It's just the stressful times are when I have a lot of stuff to do and I have my daughter and I don't want, like, it's not her fault at all. It's just, and then I understand they say like you shouldn't sleep if you have like so much homework, but I need to sleep because I can't take naps during the day, or it's as soon as I get Emma, like it's her, it's all about her. I also can't sit there and be doing homework the whole time while like every single day in front of her. Like I have breaks when she's playing independently, I'll go do homework and stuff, but it can't be the whole time because she gets really bored and really
needs attention.
Yeah, so I have to give her attention time, and then I do my homework a lot after when she goes to bed, but then I'm so tired. It's only like a 20-minute session of homework and I go right to bed like 20 minutes after she does. Because that's also time for me to shower, because sometimes my hair's greasy and I'm like, I need a shower, I smell a little bit, I gotta get it done. So time management it's very, I need to do time management. I need to really focus on time management.
Okay, so I'm looking at the clock now, and I have a client coming in next. So
Okay.
our session is ending, and like I said at the beginning, it's your choice to come back. If you think that the counseling is helping you, then I am willing to help you. So if you want, when you leave downstairs with the secretary, you can talk to her. You can book an appointment to come back on whatever day or time works for you. But other than that, it was nice to meet you, and
Very nice to meet you too.
hopefully see you soon.
Okay, thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Bye.